Hello and welcome back to the AA NBA podcast. I'm your host, Aiden Hammond.
And I'm Aditya.
And today we've got some NBA news, like always, bringing back the old greatest segment of all time, the trade corner, for some new trade stuff. So that's it. Let's get into the news. What do we got?
Quick, before we start, I apologize to the audience if you guys can hear my heater. When I listen to this in post, if it's too loud, then I'll just have it off for the next recording, but it's cold in my apartment, so. But yeah, just quick disclaimer. But first off, I wanted to start with talking about the Warriors, because they're the 1 seed right now. They're absolutely popping off. Steph Curry's playing like an MVP candidate.
Right.
And so he had that 50 piece this week. That was absolutely crazy. And shockingly, they have like the best defense or one of the best defenses in the entire league by like defensive rating, which is pretty crazy because they don't have Klay Thompson. And Draymond Green's pretty good defensively, but the whole team's just been playing really well.
Yeah, the Warriors are such a weird team. Like, they really are. Especially for us, I think, because the Warriors burn me every year. Every year since Durant's left, I've been like, you know what? I still think they're good. I still think they're gonna, do something cool. And this year was the first year I didn't say that. This year I was like, I was taking the under on their Vegas win total. I was like, I just don't think that they're going to be that great. They're probably like the 6th seed, right? And everybody was like, oh, they're the 3, they're the 4. They're even the 2, I saw some people saying. I was like, I'm not going to get burned like I have the last couple of years. They're not. I don't think they're that good. And they are that good. And a big part of the reason they're that good, which brings it back to, 2 years ago on the podcast, Gary Payton II.
Hell yeah, fan favorite.
He's a baller, dude. Like, he really is.
Mm-hmm. He's a stud.
He is. It's rare that you see a player who's like a career, like, G League, two-way contract guy break out in his age 28 season. But he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's, like, that good. Like, he really is.
I don't even say he's breaking out, but the Warriors get the most out of everybody on their roster.
Right.
That's just kind of their system.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole, who was the worst player in the league his rookie year, is now, like, a legit threat on offense. Mm-hmm. He might get some all-star votes this year. I don't know. Like, it definitely helps that he plays for the Warriors. But he has had a legit offensive breakout, and he's all right defensively. Like, he's not, like, horrible.
Wiggins has turned into a pretty good player.
Wiggins has been good. And, like, they haven't even played Wiseman yet. They haven't played Klay Thompson yet. I don't think Kuminga and Moody are getting all that much time, if any. I don't know. Have they played much? I have not seen them play much in the Warriors games that I've watched. But
no, they're still developing, I think.
But they've got like 4 players who could be legit contributors by the end of the season that aren't playing right now.
Yeah. No, they've been really good. Do you think I can't remember if we've talked about this before. When Klay Thompson comes back, do you think he's going to be similar, at least shooting-wise and defense-wise, to what he was when he got hurt? Or do you think he's taken a decent step back?
I think his offense is not really going to be that much of an issue. No, because his offense is really just like shoot the ball, don't dribble well, good off-ball movement. And the off-ball movement is the only thing that kind of worries me because he does rely on a lot of quick cuts, like to the three-point line, between three-point lines, to the top of the key. But I still think that his jump shot's going to be there, and when he gets an open look, he's going to make it. So I think that is going to be just fine. The defense is... I can't imagine that his defense is as good, because he tore his ACL, and then he tore his Achilles on... Was it the same leg or different legs?
I think it was the same one.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be worse to have it on two separate legs or the same leg, but yeah, two really bad injuries.
Yeah.
And I think that the mobility, like we saw Durant come back and be basically the same player, so it's not like out of the realm of possibility that Clay could do that, but Durant's been a good defender at points in his career, but Clay's been like a legit lockdown, like all defensive team type of guy at points in his career. And, I think that if it was just the ACL, I'd say, yeah, there's a good chance he's able to do that again. But it's the ACL and then it's the Achilles. And the Achilles is like the number one killer of basketball careers. So yeah, I would say Clay is probably like 90% of what he was offensively and then like 60% of what he was defensively, which is still a very good basketball player.
Yeah, he's still a very good second option for a championship team. Especially if Curry's playing the way he's playing right now, because he's playing out of his mind. I think everyone can kind of unanimously agree he's the MVP frontrunner right now.
Yeah,
because the Bucks have started slow, the Nets have started slow.
Yeah, KD's been out of his mind, but like I think we can all agree that like Gary Payton, Draymond Green, Gary Payton II, Draymond Green, and Jordan Poole are a worse supporting cast than Harden, even though he's been slumping, and then whoever like Millsap and Aldridge and like there's some legit good players on the Nets, and the Warriors are having some guys that are breaking out right now. But I think the general consensus among MVP voters is going to be that Curry has the worst team at this moment, which is true.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Wizards are the 1 seed right now in the Eastern. I mean, it's the Eastern Conference, but the East is looking tough this year, and the Wizards have stayed the 1 seed for like 3 weeks. Do you think they're a playoff team?
I don't know. Here's my thing with the Wizards. I do think that the Westbrook trade made them a deeper team. Because if you remember last year, it was like Beal and Westbrook, and then their third best player was like, Thomas Bryant? Like Rui Hachimura, who, like guys that are okay, but probably not like legit number 3 players. Now it's Beal, and then the supporting cast is not that bad. Like they got Kuzma, who I never thought I'd say that's not that bad, but he really is not that bad. Harrell's been good. I know that they have other good players. Dinwiddie's been good.
KCP's been shooting well.
Yeah, KCP's been good. And then they get Hachimura back. And Hachimura is not, like, incredible, but he's not bad.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, dude, Denny Advia has been really disappointing. I thought he was going to be super, like, amazing last year, and then he wasn't. And I thought he'd be at least a little better this year, and he hasn't been.
Yeah.
It makes me sad, because he was a guy coming out of that draft where I was like, oh, he's probably going to be a stud.
You were like, you really wanted him on the Bulls.
Yeah, I did. I know. And it's so sad. I'm happy the Bulls didn't draft him now.
Yeah, really, because now I'm looking at that draft, and I'm like, man, he got picked 9th overall. Like, I'd rather have, like, every player above him I'd rather have, and I'd also rather have Halliburton. I'd rather have, I'm trying to think of other guys that were drafted behind him. Like, he's just not that good.
I mean, I'd probably take almost everybody else from the first round of that draft that's still in the league.
2020 NBA draft. No, I'd take Denny over the dude that the Suns took 10th.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was kind of an overdraft at the time, and he has not really played.
Yeah.
All right. Edwards, Wiseman, Ball, Williams, Okoro, Okongwu, Hayes, Toppin. I'd take all those guys over him. Jalen Smith, I don't know. Maybe. Devin Vassell, I'd probably take over him, but I don't think he's gotten a ton of playing time.
Devin, I think he's been pretty solid actually for the Spurs.
And then Halliburton.
This season.
Man, I take
Wait, what were you saying?
Halliburton, Kier Lewis Jr., Aaron Naismith, Cole Anthony, Isaiah Stewart, Pokashevsky, Sadiq Bey,
Cole Anthony's been balling.
Precious Achua, Tyrese Maxey, RJ Hampton, Emmanuel Quickley, Peyton Pritchard. Like, yeah, there are a lot of guys I'd take over him.
Yeah.
Trey Jones, maybe.
Desmond Bain.
Maybe Cassius Stanley. Maybe not, though.
Where is he now?
I think he was on the Pistons, like, summer league team, maybe, but I don't know if he got picked up.
Oh. I liked Cassius Stanley.
Yeah, he was good. Not really.
He wasn't good, but he was cool, you know?
Yeah.
I liked him.
He did cool dunk.
Yeah. I also don't think they're going to maintain the 1 seed, but it's cool to see that they have been so far. Like, they've been playing well.
Yeah.
But they'll probably finish like the 10 or 11 seed. Be my guess.
Yeah, I think that they're a low-level play-in team.
Really? You think they make the play-in tournament?
The Wizards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're like... I mean, you said 10-11. I'm saying like 9-10.
Okay, I guess that's fair, yeah. I'm not that. That's probably like 2 games.
Yeah, I think
So,
that they can
never
be
mind,
like a
yeah.
9-10 seed.
That's fair. The next up, I wanted to bring this up. We talked about it a little bit before the podcast started. The Timberwolves have been bad.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah, last time we recorded, you said that you thought, because everyone knows the Timberwolves always like start hot, they win a few games, and then they sort of suck for a while. They lose like 20 straight or something like that. But last time we recorded, you said they looked pretty legit. And then they won 1 game in the last 2 weeks.
Look, yeah. I can't really argue with that. It was a bad take. I mean, I can own that.
It was.
I made a TikTok video about it that I was like, I think the Timberwolves are good this year, and then they lost 6 of their next 7 or whatever the fuck happened. So
Yeah, and you know what? It's okay. Many people fall for it every year. You're not the only one.
But I still don't think they're the normal Timberwolves. I think they are a little bit better than that. I really do. I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do, because I think Edwards is still really good. I think Cat's obviously really good. I think Russell is good. I think that their supporting cast is still decent. Like, they've got a coach that isn't whatever that guy's name was, Ryan Saunders. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're that bad. They are not that great. But if you had to, if you asked me who I think who is more likely to make the play-in between them and like the Wizards, I'd probably, maybe I'd go with the Wizards actually. But between like them and, let me look at the standings actually, because I need a team that I think is on that level.
I looked up Karl Anthony Towns' stats. He's shooting 48% from the field and 45% from 3.
Jesus. That's
on like 7 attempts a game.
That's ridiculous, dude. That's nuts.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Okay, if you ask me who is more likely to make the play-in between the Timberwolves and the Thunder right now, I'd say the Timberwolves. Timberwolves and Kings, I'd say Kings. Timberwolves and Pelicans, I'd say Timberwolves. Wait, Timberwolves and Kings, I'd say Timberwolves. Like, I'd take them to make the play-in over all of those teams. I think that they're also better than... I don't know about better than. But I think they're on the level of Memphis. I think they're on the level of Portland. Like, I don't think they're that much worse than all these teams. And they're only, like, 2 games back from being on the level of the Grizzlies and Blazers. So that's really not a hot take. Game and a half.
Yeah. I guess they probably won't be like the 14 seed this year. So it's an improvement for them, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. Like, Karl Anthony Towns is really good. But I remember a few days ago, it might have been a week ago now, they had started losing a few games, and he said, like, oh, it's just one of those things that, like, I'm used to now. It just kind of happens around here.
Really?
And I
I
forget exactly what the quote was, but it was like, when you're the best player on a team and you're, like, kind of the de facto leader, you can't be saying stuff like that. Maybe it was taken out of context or something, but I feel like I saw something like that somewhere.
Yeah, if that is what he said, you're right. He really can't. Yeah, I don't have a response to that. That's like just kind of embarrassing for him a little bit and the team, because for him it's like, yeah, I've been on this team for so long and we've done basically nothing but lose. Guess it's on everybody else. Like, no, it's also a little bit on you, Kat.
Oh shit! Did you see Dave Yeager has cancer?
Yeah, you said that in the party last night.
Oh yeah, I did, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hope he gets better, and he should be a legit head coaching candidate when he does. There are definitely, I can think of like probably 6 teams that would be better with Dave Yeager presence as their head coach instead of a Luke Walton or a Jason Kidd or a PJ Carlesimo. Is he still the guy for the Cavs?
I thought it was J.B. Bickerstaff.
J.B. Bickerstaff. I don't know who PJ Carlesimo is.
Wait, just make that name up.
I was like, it's like 4 syllable. It's like 2 random letters and then 4 syllable word.
I'm gonna look up PJ Carlesimo.
Oh, PJ Carlesimo is the dude that got choked by what's his name?
Latrell Sprewell?
Yes. He was the Warriors head coach when Sprewell choked him out. That's who it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
So you just remembered that. Huh. I mean, he'd probably be a better coach than Luke Walton, too, at this point.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know how much, like, what's crazy is the Kings are giving him a longer leash than they gave Dave Yeager. Can we talk about that? Like, it's fucking nuts. Dave Yeager. I feel like he only got like 3 years. Maybe it was 4.
The problem, they got rid of Dave Yeager because, so wasn't it like Buddy Hield wasn't getting along with him? And then they were like, oh, Buddy Hield's really good, Dave. You're going to have to go.
Yeah.
And they brought in Luke Walton.
It was Buddy Hield who didn't get along with him. And then Marvin Bagley who just like kind of didn't like him. So, in the long run, they basically chose Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield over Dave Yeager, and I would be...
Which didn't apply because Buddy Hield doesn't get along with Luke Walton either.
Yeah, exactly. Like, those are 2 guys where, and we can use this as a segue to the trade corner, I would be surprised if both of those guys were on the roster at the trade deadline or going into next season. Like, I really would.
I would be, because the Kings seem like the type of team to just not do anything about their problems.
I don't know, but I feel like...
Have they replaced Vlade Divac, right? Like, they're not just going without a GM right now.
Oh, Well, let me look that up, because I forgot that they were, like, in GM limbo, kind of.
Yeah, because I remember Vlade and Page has stepped down, but I don't remember who they hired to replace.
Monty McNair.
Well, that name means nothing to me, but at least they have a GM.
Monty McNair, who has not a huge career list. Seems like he's, like, kind of a newer guy. Oh,
I mean, at least they have somebody.
He was with the Rockets from like 2007 on until he got hired, I think. And Morey really liked him, so yeah, he recommended him.
So he might not be all that bad.
Yeah. So the trade corner.
Trade corner.
Let's get into it.
All right. Podcast's favorite segment, some might say.
Yes. It's definitely our
But
favorite.
so to
segment,
start out
too.
the trade corner, since we're on the topic of the Kings, I'll just start with it. The Pistons are potentially interested in trading for Bagley.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. First of all, you can probably trade like a second-round pick and get Bagley. Like, his market price isn't exactly high right now. Because he's. Did you see? There was like the report that he refused to sub into the game
Yeah.
a few days ago.
Yeah.
Like, so it's ridiculous. Like he's just shooting himself in the foot because it's like he complains about not getting minutes, and then he gets minutes, and then he refuses to play, and it's like, well, you're not a star player. You're not even a good player. So like, play when you get the chance, and then you can get traded.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's like it's so hard to trade for a guy when they're like, yeah, I'm not playing. Fuck you.
Yeah, especially when they're not that good to begin with. Like, that's the
Yeah,
problem with Ben
exactly.
Simmons. Is Ben Simmons was like, what? Like, why won't you trade me? I'm James Harden. Like, I can just sit out and wait for you to trade me. And they're like, well, Ben, the problem isn't that we don't want to trade you. It's that nobody wants you. Like,
Well, people want him. They just don't want him for that
but
ridiculous
people,
asking
yeah,
price.
like, he's not James Harden in that sense. Like, it's a lot harder to figure out the trade value of a guy who's, like, not all that great, which is kind of what Marvin Bagley is.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, at least Ben Simmons has some good qualities. Like, I can't think of a single reason to have Marvin Bagley on my team other than he might be an okay.
He was drafted
producer
second
in a few.
overall, Aditya. Come on now.
Oh yeah, he's better than Luka and Trey. I mean, dude. Him and De'Aaron Fox are going to be the next KD and Russ.
Ugh.
Okay. You remember when they said that?
Yeah, that was really bad. And the thing is, Marvin Bagley wasn't even like Kevin Durant, like in high school or high school and college.
Yeah.
Like, he was good, but he didn't even really play like that. Like, that's what doesn't make sense about the Pistons is the Pistons already have like two way better versions of Marvin Bagley. Like, Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart are like, they're not like exactly like Marvin Bagley, but they're like bigger dudes and like I don't know.
They also have Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, like they've got enough like guys who would be like kind of wing guys, but also like they're not big enough to play center and really not all that big enough and like not big enough to play power forward really. And
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley is kind of like a version of that, but he's just more injury prone and not as good as any of those guys.
Pretty much.
And then
And apparently has an attitude problem.
yeah.
So it's just a bad situation. I mean, for Bagley, for the Kings, not for the Pistons because they only like maybe want to trade for him. Hopefully they don't though because they don't need that in their locker room, especially with Cade there now.
Yeah.
But next up in the trade corner, this is a bigger one because the other ones kind of like didn't matter too much. This is a splash, if you will. The Celtics are interested in a potential package for Ben Simmons revolving around Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I would hate that, I think, for the Celtics.
Yeah.
The Celtics don't really need a Simmons presence, both in their locker room and on the floor. Like,
I kind of disagree with that a little bit because I don't think Simmons is the best fit for them necessarily, but they've been struggling a lot. I mean, as we all know, they have been garbage this season.
Yeah.
They just lost to the Cavs last night. But they have a lot of scoring. And, like, because Jason Tatum, he's a scorer. He's not facilitating the ball. Jaylen Brown's a scorer. Dennis Schroeder's a scorer. Marcus Smart plays defense, I guess. But, like, they don't have anyone to just distribute the ball
Right.
and run an offense.
yeah, that's a
And
that's
I'm
a
not
good
saying
point.
Ben Simmons is like the fix for that because, again, I don't think he's the perfect fit, but he is someone that will focus more on facilitating than scoring. I think if the Celtics could have gotten Lonzo Ball this offseason, that would have been perfect for them. But they didn't. They just need a true point guard because over these past few years, they've had since they've had Jason Tatum in the lineup, their point guards have been Kyrie, who didn't play much, and when he did play, had problems with the team, Terry Rozier, Kemba Walker, and Dennis Schroeder. So no one that's really out here as a pure facilitator.
And sticking around more than like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Well, the Celtics have had a bad history with point guards for a little while now.
Yeah, no, I do think that it would make sense, like, maybe scheme-wise for them, but I'm just not sure that, like, you know, that Celtics locker room isn't exactly, like, it doesn't exactly seem like they're having a peachy keen season over there. It seems like there's a little bit of... You know, and maybe it's just...
The thing is, though...
But, like, players are, like, openly criticizing Tatum and Brown, like Marcus Smart, in the media.
Do you remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, where, like, I think it was Brad Stevens was talking to reporters or something, and in the background, you could, like, hear people yelling at each other in the locker room.
Yes, this
is a thing that's been going on for years.
Yeah, this is a core that doesn't exactly... get along great right now. And, like, I don't know if Ben Simmons is a team cancer, because I'm not in that building, but he does not seem to be all that well-liked. Like...
Yeah, he's not a fan favorite with the Sixers players right now.
Yeah, players are saying the right things. Like, they're like, all right, we'll support you, bro. Like, we miss you. We want you to come back. But, like, if he got traded, I don't think anybody's throwing a fit.
The frustration's showing, too, because, like, Joel Embiid was like, yeah, we're not going to, like, baby him or whatever.
Yeah,
we're just going to come here and do our jobs. Like, Danny Green said a similar thing.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think that... And, you know, maybe part of that is Jaylen Brown. Like, I don't know how much of the Celtics locker room is on Jaylen Brown. But I would assume part of it is because he's one of the better players. So, like, I don't know if swapping a guy who, you know, maybe is creating issues for a guy who's going to create more issues and a lot more issues is a very good idea.
Yeah, I think, honestly, if I was the Celtics, obviously you have a big concern with Ben Simmons, like, potential production, especially because, like, they have a rookie head coach, too, so, you know, you got to be a little careful with those things. But, like...
Right.
You also got to think, I don't know, again, like you said, we're not in that locker room or whatever. I don't know how much of a vocal presence Ben Simmons has, but, like, if there were to be some form of, like, another screaming match in the locker room, I don't know what kind of impact that could have on him.
See, that's the problem with Ben Simmons, is I don't even think, like, he really... Like, he's definitely not that guy on the court. Like, I don't expect him to be like Jimmy Butler, like that kind of vocal leader, but I do expect him to make it look like he cares, and he just, like, he doesn't. Yeah. Like I know that there are some players that are more silent leaders, like Tim Duncan, but even Tim Duncan,
but I don't even think
would
Ben
get
Simmons
on people.
Is a silent leader.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I mean, is he's just, like, quiet. Like, he's just, it just doesn't seem like he really cares. So, I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but he doesn't really seem like that guy.
Yeah. Do you think... I don't know, because, again, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, that Brad Stevens is now the general manager for that team. Danny Ainge just stepped down. Do you think he's going to do because he's been learning from Danny Ainge, so you think he's going to do that same thing where he just makes a bunch of bad trades, or he's really picky about a trade and he won't make the trade unless he thinks he's absolutely ripping the other person off? Like, do you think he's going to do something like that?
I don't know. I think that was kind of Danny Ainge's hubris, because he kind of did that, like, a couple times. Like, he kind of, like, obviously he robbed the Nets, and then he kind of robbed the Cavs of Kyrie. Like, he sent, Isaiah Thomas, like, was it one of the last Nets first round picks he had? And then,
it was Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder.
Yeah, like, they weren't getting a great package for Kyrie. So I think he kind of got, like, I think he got it into his mind that every general manager was dumb, and when really, like, it was those circumstances separately that kind of made everything work out like that. Like, okay, the Cavs were desperate to try to get anything for Kyrie, and, you know, the Nets were just stupid in general, so it kind of worked out.
Well, because, like, one of the biggest things I think of is, like, he let Gordon Hayward walk instead of trading him to the Pacers for, like, Miles Turner and a pick. You know what I mean?
But he got
Stuff
that
like
$28 million trade exception that I don't even think they really used.
No, they brought back Al Horford.
Yes, that's what it was. So they basically traded Gordon Hayward, who's, like, legitimately, arguably the best player on his team right now, for Al Horford, who's 1,000 years old and is fine, I guess.
No, Al Horford's a beast, bro. What are you talking about?
Al Horford is elite, dude. He's elite.
One of the best big men in the league, in my opinion.
Right. We just got in a... Guys, we're doing this podcast. We got in a time machine and are doing this podcast from 2014.
No, dude, we're doing this podcast in the year 2024. Al Horford is still an elite big man, okay?
Yeah.
He's a stud.
We should play a game where we, like... If we ever, like... Maybe we could do it at the end of this episode, even. Like, we just take a random player and, like, talk about if they're going to be in the league by 2025.
I'd be so down for that. Yeah, honestly, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, all right. We've got a couple more things we got to get to, and then we'll do that, because I like that game.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right, next up, the Atlanta Hawks are bad right now.
Yeah.
John Collins has been bad. Trae Young hasn't been great. Cam Reddish and Hunter have been bad offensively.
Yeah.
Capella's been, like, not... The whole team as a whole has just been bad.
Yeah. What do you think about this? What do you think is the reasoning?
Well, I'm trying to think. So, like, I don't even think it's necessarily the rule changes at this point, because Trae Young has shown he can adapt.
Right.
He might have to work a little harder, but he can adapt. John Collins and, like, these other guys weren't necessarily affected by it a whole lot. But it makes me wonder, like, this team, they just don't have the magic that they had in that playoff run. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe that's just because that was a playoff atmosphere and they were, like, underdogs doing a whole lot. But they had, like, a flair. They looked excited to play. And this year, it just kind of looks like frustration.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. They are a little bit of a different attitude, it seems like. My thing with the Hawks is they might just be one of those teams that, like, I remember, like, the Miami Heat, I think that last year they were together. Like, they went to the finals. They did get beat. But I think they got off to, like, a 500 start. Like, the elite team, the Minnesota Timberwolves that I've been talking about, like, they're not off to the best start.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But there are teams like... I think the Lakers... Like, the Lakers this year. Like, they got off to kind of a slow start. Like, they haven't had LeBron for a couple games, and, like, you know, Russ will either go out and have a 30-point triple-double or a 20-point quadruple-double with turnovers. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what the deal is, but I'm not going to overreact to anything, you know, less than 15 games into the season. I still think the Hawks are a good team. Like, I think I had them predicted to be, like, the second seed. I'm not going to, like, walk that back right now. It's definitely not quite as likely as I thought it was, but, you know.
It is. This is also Nate McMillan's first full season with the Hawks, so he probably starts to work out some kinks.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's easy for a guy to take a team that's, like, that is not really coached well halfway through the season and just be like, okay, just do what you do best. But... as soon as you have to make your scheme more complex in the NBA, like over an off season, it's tough. So, you know.
They'll figure it out. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
One of my friends that we went to, like, one of the Purdue basketball games, and they were talking about, like, because he's a huge Jazz fan, so we were talking about, like, a lot of the shorter guards have been struggling shooting-wise this year. And I was talking about how like it might be the rule change, but he brought up something I completely forgot about. That the NBA changed the basketball they use.
Wait, really?
So yeah, so they use like Wilson now, I think. Like, so it's got like a whole different feel to it. I guess like I'm assuming they just use like the normal Wilson ball, but they did change the ball they use. So that's
yeah, I remember that. They
could also possibly contributing.
Yeah, they did that in like I think June maybe. Like it was early or not June. It was like right after the finals that they announced that, and
yeah. But that was something they completely spaced my mind. Like I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, I did too.
But yeah. Last thing, or I guess we got two more things. The Clippers have been playing well. Last time we recorded, Paul George was playing really well, but they had only won like 2 games. They're currently the 5 seed in the Western Conference. They've been playing better as a team as a whole. Paul George is still playing really well. Do you think he's an MVP candidate?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's not getting the attention he probably deserves, but he is, like, that supporting cast is not spectacular. Like, it's not, maybe not as bad as the Warriors, but, like, it's not great. And, you know, he's balling and they're winning games. So, like, the best way to win an MVP is be on a high seed. The second best way to win an MVP is to be balling out of your mind. The third best way to win MVP is be doing the first 2 things and also not have a good team around you. And he's checking all those boxes, so I think he's, at the very least, a candidate. I'd still take Durant, and I'd still take Curry, for sure, but he's been good.
I agree. I would take those first 2 guys as well, but it is nice to see him playing well, especially after all of the slander these past few years.
Yeah, for real. I used to hate Paul George, and like the amount of slander he got made me like him a little more, because I was like, damn, like,
which is crazy to think about.
Like he does, I was like, he doesn't deserve this. Like he is not this bad. Like
they're just beating the man while he's down.
Yeah, like I was rooting for the Clippers last year. I was like, I kind of like, I mean, I don't love the guy, but like I'm cool with Paul George now. Like. I was like, damn, y'all are progress. You guys are being mean as fuck for like really no reason.
You remember last year when you were like turning into a Jimmy Butler fan?
Yeah, I don't like him as much anymore. Can we talk about that? How fucking corny the Miami Heat are? That was so lame.
Wait, what happened?
When they like ran up on the locker room after the game and that picture of them, and it was like an elderly security guard and like 5 professional athletes, and they were like looking in like, let's get them, guys, and like if they wanted to, they could have.
I think that was,
but they're fake tough guys.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't a real image.
What?
I'm pretty sure what you're referencing is an NBA meme.
No. The picture where the security guard's like standing in the doorway, and then like I think it was like Bam and Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry are all like standing right outside, and like Jimmy's kind of like trying to get his head over so he's in the picture so he can look tough.
Yeah, I think that's not a real image.
Okay, now I gotta figure this out.
I know what you're talking about, but I feel maybe it was just sent to our group chat by a meme page, but I could have sworn that was not a real image. Maybe it's just because of the page that sent it or whatever. But
oh yeah, via Denver Post ace photographer Aaron Ontiveros. Heat players waiting in the hallway outside their locker room post game. Yeah, I mean it was used in a bunch of memes. So that's probably where you saw it.
Markieff Morris was so at fault for that.
Yeah, right.
I don't think Jokic should have gotten a suspension.
I don't know. I mean, you can't really he basically ran up and punched him in the back. You can't do that.
You also can't hit someone and then turn around immediately, not expecting to get hit back.
Yeah,
then hit back and complain about being hit in the back.
Yes, he deserved the retaliatory strike. And I really think that I don't think Jokic did anything worse than what Morris did, honestly. They both, kind of did something shitty. My point is, I don't think I don't think what Jokic did, like, it was definitely malicious. Like, if we're, like, a lot of suspensions are because of malice, really. Like, that's what a flagrant is. Like, that's what all those fouls are. That's why, like, instigating a fight in the NBA. Like, we can get into the Miles Turner chippy match, but, like, Gobert got a bigger fine because he instigated it, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That wasn't even... I remember that quote, or not that quote, like, after that game, Rudy Gobert was talking about, like, all these guys trying to be tough and how he'll, like, fight them or whatever. Oh! And then everyone was talking... What?
Sorry, I'm watching the Colts game. They just blocked a punt.
Oh.
And ran it back for a touchdown. I tried to make my scream a little more silent so it doesn't kill you on the editing. That's awesome.
That scared me, dude.
You thought I was like having a heart attack or something?
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening. But what, like, everyone was talking about how Gobert was just kind of hugging Miles Turner. Like, he didn't fight him, he just kind of grabbed him.
Yeah, I mean, it was really like, okay, I feel like I only saw it a couple times because I kind of hate watching, like, fight replays if there's not, like, anything cool going on. Like, if it's just two grown men, like, kind of shoving each other, it's not cool to watch. So, like, from what
Especially
I remember...
when they're 7 feet tall and super uncoordinated.
Right. From what I remember, like, Turner... Was it Turner on offense and Gobert on defense?
Yeah, so I think, like, Turner thought he got fouled or something.
Right.
So then when they went back to the other side of the court, Turner just kind of pushed him.
Right.
And then Gobert came back and, like, grabbed him, and then they started, like, hugging each other or something.
Okay, so... Yeah, Gobert instigated it for sure. Like... Yeah, I never really understand... Like, I understand why people hate Gobert to a certain extent. But, like, it's stuff like that makes me... But I'm usually like, okay, like, Gobert's not that bad, guys. You can relax on him. But he also does shit like that. And I can understand if you're, like, a Suns fan or, like a Lakers or a Warriors or a team that plays them a lot. Like, I can understand if you see Gobert a lot and you see him doing that stuff. Because he did it again the other night. I don't remember who it was. I think it was maybe against the Pistons or something. And, like, he did it again. Like, he tried to instigate another fight, like, by getting kind of chippy. So I understand why people maybe don't like him.
Yeah. All right, the last thing that we have, John Wall probably won't play this season because no one wants to trade for that contract.
Yeah. Yeah. The Wizards got a first round, or the Rockets got a first round pick out of that, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Was
that one of the ones they had last year? Let me figure it out.
I think it might have been
2021 NBA draft. All right,
because I think it. Okay. John Wall. Yeah. So that contract's too big. It's the last year though, right? Like after this, he's a free agent.
I don't know. I think there might be an option, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna look it up because I'm not 100% sure what his contract's looking like right now. But I mean, it's not really a surprise that no one wanted to trade for him. He had a good season last year. Like, I guess okay season is a better word. He wasn't amazing, but he's just making too much money. All right, so this is the 21-22 is the last year, and then he's got a player option for $47 million next year.
Okay.
Actually, I'll wait for you to.
Yeah. So I've just got.
Find what you were looking.
Yeah. So Shams actually has like a detailed on all the protections on the pick. So the protection on the first round pick that the Wizards traded to Houston and Russell Westbrook John Wall trade. In 2023, it's lottery. In 2024, it's top 12. In 2025, it's top 10. In 2026, it's top 8. And then it becomes 2 second rounders. So
Wait, so they got a protected first that could turn into second rounders if they're bad.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they would do that. So basically, if the Wizards just suck, they don't have to trade a first round pick. Really, is what it comes down to.
It's looking like they're not gonna suck.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
My question for you, what I was going to ask is, do you think John Wall is going to take his player option? Because $47 million is a lot of money, but he also probably won't play for another year if he takes that money.
I mean, I would take that money. I think it depends on what John Wall wants. Like, at this point, if I'm John Wall, like, how much has he made in his career? 200 million? Has he hit the 200 million threshold?
I mean, just off this last contract, he signed that 4-year 170.
Okay. So he's already
and then he's got this player option.
Like, this is a dude that has, like, already generational wealth built. Really. Like,
yeah.
John Wall career earnings. Like, and this isn't even counting ad stuff. Like, I'm sure, yeah, he's made $230 million in his career thus far without even getting into, I'm sure he's made, like, a shit ton of money from Adidas and, like, all the other ads he's done.
And this season, he's making another $45 million.
Right. John Wall is not going to be strapped for cash. Like, if he's anything other than, like, he would literally have to spend, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day for multiple years to lose that money. And I just don't think that anybody is that dumb. Like, I know that there are the horror stories about Antoine Walker, but Antoine Walker used to, like, buy cars like it was, like, his job. Like, he used to get, like, a car a month. Like, if you're not doing that, it's basically impossible to burn through. And Antoine Walker only made, like, $100 million. Like, John Wall is going to end up making almost triple that just by this year. So, yeah. John Wall is set money-wise, right?
Yep.
I think that for almost anybody that's not, like, a billionaire, it is hard to turn down $47 million, right? However, I kind of think that John Wall, like, because John Wall is not going to play basketball, really. I think if he takes that option, the Rockets are just not going to, like, I can't imagine that the Rockets would play him, right? Because, like...
No, because they're not playing him this year.
Yeah, because, like, they've got Green, they got Sengun, they got Christian Wood. Like, they've got these younger guys who are better. Like, Christian Wood isn't a guard, but he still takes, offensive production.
Well, I think they just don't want to risk him getting hurt again before they can trade him.
Right. So, and even if he doesn't end up getting traded, there's going to be a point where, like, he would come back, like, because he's not playing, he's only playing to preserve his trade stock right now. But if he doesn't have any trade stock and the Rockets know that, they're going to be like, well, fuck it. Like, you're not hurt. Like, just go out there and play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was my thing. Like, 'cause if he does take that player option, then he's a free agent at the end of the season. They have nothing to lose because no one's going to trade for him, and he's going to be gone anyway. So unless they want to, like, sign him back for another extension or whatever, they have nothing to really lose by playing him.
Right. Like the issue right now isn't that he's, like, it's partly because he's making so much money this year. But it's also because there's the danger that he's going to opt in for next year and set off a $47 million cap space bomb. Like, that's...
Well, yeah, that's why they wanted to trade him so bad.
Right. That's what's keeping a team like, a contender, or even a team like the Clippers that kind of just needs another good player. Like, that's what's keeping them from doing it. Not because, like, this year, we know that this is, like, a lost time period for Houston, right? Like, Houston's a team, like, I always say that, like, if there's draft capital involved, if you really suck, like, really, really suck, you should take on a gigantic like albatross contract if they're offering to, compensate you with draft stuff, because like what is there to lose? Like you very likely have the space because your team is so bad and it's a lot of young players on rookie deals or older players on cheap deals. Like there's nothing much to lose by like taking on a John Wall contract. The problem is the Rockets are already that team, and there aren't a lot of teams for them to trade with, right? And John Wall is not going to okay a trade to, like, I think he also has a draft. Doesn't he have a trade clause that he has to?
I'm not.
That he would have to waive. Like, let's say he does. He's not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go from Houston to Orlando. Right? Because, like, Orlando's got all these guards, and, like, he's probably not going to get a ton of playing time. And, like, why would he want to go to a situation that's, like, maybe not quite as bad as Houston, but almost as bad? It doesn't, like, it's the worst possible. Like, it's a huge contract. You're already bad. Like, you're going to have to probably give up draft capital to get off of this contract. Like, it's just, like, it's over for Houston. They just got to bite the bullet and, like, hope he opts out after this season.
Yeah. Dude, he was so good, man.
He was so good. I miss John Wall.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got.
Do you want to play the game?
So
we can play a couple rounds.
Hell yeah, let's play the game.
All right, let's do like, I don't know. We can do 3 or 4 players each, and we'll just rotate.
Yeah. Do you want to? Are we doing like a random player generator?
I've got one player in mind, and then we can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Udonis Haslem. Is he still going to be on an NBA roster in 2025?
2025, he'll be on the Heat.
You think so? He's 41.
Yeah, here's the thing. The Heat at this point cannot decline a Udonis Haslem contract, I feel like.
Yeah, they've made like a deal with the devil where like
he doesn't want to be there anymore.
They've made like a deal with the devil where like, all these great players want to come to Miami, but they also have to allocate like $2 million of their cap space to just keeping Udonis Haslem, even though he can really not do anything anymore.
Correct.
He's no longer young and dominant. I don't know. We made this game up like 10 minutes ago, but so we haven't exactly ironed out the rules yet. Does it count if that player is still on the team, like in a coaching capacity, right? Like Jared Dudley is going from a player, like if you asked me if he was going to be in the league 2 years ago, I don't know what I would say, but he's a coach now, right? So
I would say that doesn't count as them being in the league, but you could specify that. Like if I thought Udonis Haslem was going to be a coach on here, I'd say in 2025 he'll be a coach on the Heat.
Because I would almost
think
guarantee
he's going to be on the roster.
You think he is going to be on the roster? Okay.
Just this last week, Tyler Herro threw him a lob.
He did not even come close. He was like, he
tripped over himself.
He did the physical movement version of what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, he did.
That was the way a body moves when somebody else does something that you think they shouldn't do. Like, he was like, why the hell are you throwing me a lob, dude? What? In your 3 years here, funny. Like, this is Tyler Herro's 3rd year in the league. In your 3rd year here, what makes you think I'm any more athletic than I was your 1st year here when I was also old?
All right. You want me to do one? I got a wheel spinner here.
Yeah. So maybe do like a 1 out of 30 and then a 1 out of 15 or something. I don't know.
A what?
Like a 1 out of 30, and then if you get like 15, it would be whatever team is 15th alphabetically, and then 1 out of 15.
Oh no, I found a wheel that has like 300 names on it.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah. All right. The player is Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, that's a really good one. In 2025, Carmelo Anthony is...
I think...
How old is he?
He'll be. I think he's 36 right now.
Is he 36?
Maybe 37.
I think he's 37 turning 38 because LeBron is 36 turning 37 this year. And he's a year older.
Melo is 37 turning 38, yes.
Okay, so...
I think he'll be out of the league in 2025. I think he'll retire.
I think it depends... That is a really good one. I'm going to say no, but I think he might be in the league in, like, 2023 or 2024. Like, I think that will
Do
be...
you think he plays 1 or 2 more years?
I would think that's, like, his maybe first or second year of retirement is the 2025 season.
I would agree with that, yeah. Unless he does one of those things, like, where he goes back to the Knicks for, like, a week or something to get his retirement, or, like, his jersey stuff or whatever.
Right.
Or not his jersey stuff, but, like, to retire as a Knick. Or he might do that as a Nugget. I don't really know. All
yeah.
Right, who's your next one?
Will you send me that thing so I can do it? Because I don't have any other players that come to mind.
I got you. Hopefully it works. I just, like, looked it up. But... Oh, it won't let me send it on Instagram.
Oh, it's fine. I can
So
what did you Google for it?
I'll send it. NBA player wheel. I'll send it on Snapchat and see if that works. But...
Hey, here, I got it. 2K20 Wheel of Players, or Wheel of Random NBA Players.
Mine just says Wheel of NBA players.
Okay. Alright, yep, I got it.
All right. So you got it, right?
Denzel...
Is it like a green-looking one?
Yes. Denzel Valentine.
Oh. 2025? He's on the Cavs right now, right?
Right. I think he's 27. If you told me he was 32, I don't know if I'd be surprised. Because I feel like he was old in college and he got drafted like 6 years ago.
I think he'll be on a minimum contract somewhere.
I would agree with you.
Because it seems like one of those guys where it's like, well, he can still kind of produce. He's just not that great. So
he's 2027, so in 25 he'll be 32. Yeah, I think he'll still be on a roster. Maybe as like a 15th man. He seems like the kind of guy that maybe sticks around a little longer because he's just like a nice dude and he's like good in the locker room.
Yeah. Do you remember when we walked past him in Chicago?
Yeah, that was cool. I met him at the college mall when I was like in 7th grade.
That's pretty cool.
I've got a picture of him.
Why was he in the college mall?
It was when he was at Michigan State.
Oh,
so I think he was maybe there for an IU game or something. I don't know, but like, that's one of my favorite pictures because he's like standing, like next to my sister, and then like I'm like off to the side because I was like nervous or something. And my that was also the time. There was a good portion of my life where my sister, who's like a year and a half younger than me, was taller than me because I didn't hit a growth spurt until like high school, and she hit a growth spurt when she was like 10. So there were a couple of years in like late elementary school, early middle school where she was like 3 inches taller than me. So she looks like my older sister, and I look like some like little boy who's like scared to meet a college basketball player.
That's pretty funny.
I'll try to find that picture and send it to you, actually.
Okay. I gotta see that, so. Alright, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll spin the wheel. We got Norvel Pell. Who is that?
Maybe spin the wheel, like, because that's the thing we're not taking into account is, like, there are probably going to be a bunch of, like, 10 through 15s that we just don't know on this team.
Yeah. All right, I'll spin.
So if we get a guy like that, just spin it again.
Okay. Oh, no, that's another guy. Damn it. All right, I got to spin it again.
Okay.
Thomas Sadaranski.
Ooh. See, these are the good ones. The guys who are like 6 through 9s in any given rotation in the NBA.
Yeah.
Thomas Sadaranski. Ooh.
Where is he now?
I think he is in New Orleans, right?
Yes, he is. He is in New Orleans. He's playing like 15 minutes a game.
I found it. I just
like
sent the picture to you.
Alright, sweet.
Yeah, I would say, how old is he? Like 26, 25?
He's 30.
He's 30?
Yeah.
Damn. I would say no then. I would say no.
You think he's out of the league?
Yeah, because a lot of these guys that are like 6 through 9 guys on a roster. What?
I just saw the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these guys who are like 6 through 9s on a roster are like hilarious because, or not hilarious, they're like unique because a lot of them would be out of the league if they weren't in the right situation in like 5 years, and I think that's probably going to be what's happening because he's going to be like 34. Like, he'll more than likely not be quite as good. I can't think of something that would keep him in the league. Like, there are some guys where like they're really good defensively or they're like really good 3-point shooters. Like Justin Holiday's like, he's like he's like a rotation guy on the Pacers, but he's also like a very good 3-point shooter, and I think that's something that'll keep him in the league for a long time. So
yeah.
Yeah, I would say Saddaransky is not in the league.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, you're up.
All right. Spin the wheel. Markieff Morris. Well.
In 5 years, or I guess 4 years, 3 years.
What are they?
Something like
29, 30, 31?
I think they're in their like early, like 32 or something like that.
Markieff Morris, yeah, they're 32.
I like her saying they.
Yeah, because they're like a monolith. What would you think?
I think he'll be on a roster. People will keep him in the league because he's like a tough guy and he'll stand up for his teammates and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say...
I would say he'll be like a lower end of the rotation guy.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I think he's like Denzel Valentine, but in a different way than Denzel Valentine. I think he's like a guy you keep around for the culture of a team and like for the locker room and...
Yeah.
Like, because, like, say what you want about him, like, whether he's, like, an ass or not, like, his teammates rally around him. Like, his teammates, like, the Heat players were rallying around him. So, you know, I would say yes. I would say yes, he is in the league in 2025.
I would agree with that. All right, my turn?
Yes.
All right, we got... Tim Hardaway Jr.
Ooh. Tim Hardaway. Yeah, I would say yes. I would say yes.
Yeah. He's not going to be making his like 20 mil or whatever, but he'll be a backup shooter. Maybe even a starting shooter. We'll see.
Yeah, I think on the right team, he might be a guy that like gets like when his contract is up with Dallas, he gets like a small deal with like a contender and then ends up like having a really good postseason or something and then gets another big contract. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I could even see him getting a nice extension with Dallas because he's like their second best player.
Yeah, honestly.
All right, you want to do one more each?
Yeah, we can do one more each. All right, let me get this wheel pulled up. All right. Miles Turner. Yes, I would guarantee you, in fact, Miles Turner is still in the league.
He'll probably be on the Pacers in 4 years.
Hopefully. Let's do a different one because that one was lame. Like, if you get a really good or a really bad player, like, it's lame. Oh, your choice. All right,
Well, that's lame.
I'll do the most interesting one of these. LeBron James, 2025.
Ooh.
Is LeBron James still in the NASCAR Basketball Association? And I'm going to let you do this first while I look up his son's 24/7 profile.
Okay. See, this is tough because it's like, we've talked about it before. I think we're both under the same impression that LeBron would retire before he, like, becomes, like, a bench role player, right? Like, I don't think we're ever going to see LeBron drop below, like, 20 points per game in a season.
Right.
But if he were to, like, if we have the wrong impression and he just wants to stay in the league as long as he can, then he'll definitely be in the league in 5 years. Like,
I agree.
4 years. 2025 is 4 years, but yeah. Like, he'll if he wants to be in the league, he can be in the league for another, like, 5, 6, 7 years.
All right. Bronny James is a 4-star recruit currently. In the class of, he's the 38th ranked player in the class of 2023.
So he would go to college in the 23-24 season?
Yes, unless he reclassifies, which is a very, very, very common thing now.
Okay.
Like a guy like Amani Bates. How old is
But
Bronny?
wouldn't he have to then play like 2 years in college?
Well,
Isn't that,
that's
like,
the
an age
thing. He is actually he's only like, I think 6 months younger than Amani Bates. So
so Bates is just young.
Right. So if he reclassified, he could come out in 2022, which means he could be playing college basketball next year if he wanted to, but he might not. I don't know. But like Jalen Duren and Amani Bates, who are like, I gotta watch some Memphis games. You gotta watch some Memphis games this year. I think you would like Memphis because Amani Bates is like, he's like an NBA player basically. Or his game is like an NBA
Memphis
game.
Play
He's not as good
Purdue
as
ever.
I mean, there's a chance that they do in pre-conference, but they're in the American Conference, not the Big Ten.
So probably not.
Probably not.
Right.
I would say so. And I bring up Bronny because, like, that's kind of the timeline for LeBron, right? Because he wants to play with his son or against his son or when his son is in the league. Yeah. So Bronny could be in the league by 2024 pretty easily if he wanted to. Maybe even 2023. So, you know, it's, I would say yes. I would say yes.
Yeah, probably.
What is Bryce? Bryce is like 14 now, so maybe he like plays with Bronny, and then he's like, well, let's get Bryce in the mix. Let's just wait a couple years, and then he waits for Bryce to get drafted if Bryce ends up being a really good basketball player. So, yeah.
So he'll probably be in the league.
I would say yes. I would say yes.
Okay.
Because he might still, like, there's a chance he's still really fucking good in 2025, by the way. That might be, like, when he starts to become, like, just an all-star instead of, like, an all-NBA type of guy. Or maybe not. Like, maybe he's better or worse than that, but who knows.
I think he'd be a little worse than an all-star. But he probably would just make the all-star game, like, if he was slightly worse than some other players but had the name, you know?
Yeah. Like, he'll definitely... LeBron seems... Shut up, Siri. LeBron seems like the type of dude that would, like, make his farewell tour well known. Like, there's some guys like Tim Duncan and, there was we kind of knew it was Tim Duncan's last year, but he wasn't really saying anything. Like, we knew when it was Kobe's last year. We knew when it was Derek Jeter's last year. We are going to know when it's LeBron's last year.
He's going to have, like, a whole TV series
around. For sure. He's going to have, like, an hour-long special called, like, The Retirement or something that's just, like a Adobe Premiere cut of, like, his best, like, all of his career highlights, and then he's going to be like...
And he's going to play a different hour-long video every game of the season.
Right. Like, he's going to... Like, every team he plays, he's going to have, like, an hour-long highlight package that they have to play on the Jumbotron before the game.
Yeah.
When he goes to, like, a visiting arena.
Before the game, at halftime, post-game, it's playing the whole time.
Like, he's going to be like, this is how much I bitched out your team for the last 30 years. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, he's going to... Yeah,
all right, I got a good one.
Okay.
Josh Okogie.
How old is Josh Okogie?
He's like 23 or 24. Wait. Hold on. I was thinking of a different guy. Never mind. I'll respin. Josh Okogie's actually pretty good.
Were you thinking of Jared Vanderbilt?
No. I'll just say it because I think it'd be a good one. Jarrett Culver.
Jarrett Culver. That's the guy who I thought you were talking about. Okay, Jarrett Culver is weird because, wait, he's on the Grizzlies now.
Yep.
I will admit that I have not been paying a ton of attention to Jarrett Culver's career renaissance on the.
The Timberwolves essentially gave up on him halfway through his rookie year, and he has.
No, I know that. I just don't know about how he's playing on Minnesota or Memphis.
Oh, I don't think he's playing that much.
He has gotten, it looks like 16 total minutes this year. I would say.
But there's also the thing of like some teams might like bring him in on minimums because he's young and could still be like okay.
Well, he's 22 right now, so it's not all that far fetched to be like, in 4 years he'll be 26. It's hard to think of a guy because like he's not awful. He just doesn't crack the rotation. Like it's not like when he gets in and he's like the worst player on the floor. Obviously, like he just doesn't even get in.
He just doesn't play.
I think he's a guy that, like, by 2026, he probably floats around on minimum deals. Maybe a bad team gives him, like, a big contract or something. Or maybe he just plays himself into the roster and it becomes a rotation player in Minnesota, or Memphis. That could be a thing that happens. Like, never know.
Yeah.
I would say yes, because it's also, like, unless you're awful, like, atrocious, most guys who go top 10 aren't out of the league by, like, by their age 26 season. Like, you can stick around if you're decent. And especially if a team takes you with the top 10 pick. Like, that's the best thing to extend a player's career is just be taken higher than you should have.
All right. I think that's all we got, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That was a great episode.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yes.
Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Check out all our stuff in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.